All right, so these are the new Zipp 303 SWs, and these are taking bike technology and sports tech geekery to kind of a different level, where these have integrated tire pressure sensors built right into the rim themselves, where you'll be able to monitor your tire pressure in real time directly from your handlebars. So what SRAM and Zipp have done here is integrate their tire whiz technology directly into a set of Zipp wheels, where you don't have to have that little pod on the outside of the valve. And there's a couple different versions here depending on your needs. So they have a set specifically for road, which they call the 353 NSWs, and then they have a more all-around set right here with the 303 SWs, where these are more versatile, where you can use these for gravel, road, as well as cyclocross. So to get into this kind of technology, so these 303 SWs run a little bit over $2,000 for the set, and then the 353 NSWs are a bit more than that. Are they worth it? Well, Zipp wheels aren't necessarily known for being inexpensive, but they are pretty well known for being on the bleeding edge when it comes to aerodynamics as well as technology, and that's really what these are all about. So these are really for all of us looking for every advantage that we can get. So these 303 SWs are going to be more of an all-around wheel set that can be used for road, gravel, and even cyclocross racing, where they're optimized for 30 to 44 millimeter tires, but they say the best performance is at 35 millimeters. So definitely probably a little bit more road-oriented and probably even more like endurance road-oriented, but you could totally use these for gravel as well, as long as you don't want to go like super wide. So these hoops have a hookless design, which should probably come as no surprise. So I think that's pretty much here to stay for Zipp wheels at least. And these 303 SWs specifically are around 40 millimeters deep and have an internal width of 25 millimeters or so, and then 33 millimeters on the outside. And then just like their recently released Explorer wheel set, they co-designed some tires alongside with Goodyear specifically for these rims, where these are the Goodyear Vector R Z30 SWs. I think I got that right. And I don't yet have a full list of compatible tires for these rims quite yet, but I'd say that it's a pretty broad and pretty usable range of 30 to 44, where you can use these for like all kinds of riding. But I'll try to have a link in the description below of tires that you can actually use with this. Now, what's kind of crazy about this like mid to fairly wide rim along with the 30 millimeter tires, how it mounts up. So first off, it is going to be a bit of a challenge to mount these, where at first it looks like it's nearly impossible. I literally did not think I could actually get these on, but after some wrangling, I did actually get them on there. And the mounting video that they have shows this guy pretty chill for the most part, just kind of like mounting this tire all lackadaisical. But I think depending on your tire size, there could be swear words involved, but my recommendation is to definitely get a pair of tire pliers, which will make your life a lot easier. But being that these are pretty snug to say the least, I didn't actually need to use a compressor to seat them. I actually just used a hand pump. Another thing that was kind of shocking for me is that once I actually did get the tire on the rim and not inflated, I was like, there's no way that this tire is actually designed for this rim, but it actually is. And as you can see with this 30 millimeter tire, it creates this very aero profile from the tire to the rim. I mean, that's kind of what Zipp is all about. And then a couple other notes really quick before we get into the tire pressure sensors themselves is that these are center lock disc compatible, and they come standard with an XDR or Shimano driver body, depending on your choice. And then they also offer a Campy body that's sold separately. Oh, and then for weight, so these have an advertised weight of 1,440 grams, and I apologize that I didn't weigh these before putting the tires on, but I really didn't feel like remounting the tires, so I guess we're just gonna have to take their word for it. Okay, so for the tire pressure sensors themselves, so they basically took their tire whiz technology that they've had before that attached to the valve stem and put it all inside the rim with this little cartridge that just kind of slides in the rim, and they're powered by a little CR2032 coin cell battery, like what's used in heart rate straps, as well as their axis shifters. Now, since this cartridge does add a few grams, they've actually offset the weight around the rim so it's weighted correctly so you don't get any like speed wobbles or anything like that. Now, you can set your desired tire pressure as well as have a threshold, and then monitor your tire pressure in real time from your head unit, as well as a SRAM access app. But they also have an LED on the outside of the rim itself, which can kind of just give you a general indication if you're at the right tire pressure, with green meaning good to go, and then red if you're out of range. Oh, and then one more thing is that you can actually calculate your optimal tire pressure in the SRAM access app depending on your setup. Now, it uses a specific valve for the pressure sensing, so you can't just use any tubeless valve for this. This valve is part of the entire system, and you even need to have the valve aligned correctly, so perpendicular to the rim for the pressure sensing to be accurate. Oh, and then another note is that when you're adding tire sealant, you either have to use their sealant injection tool, which is this kind of narrow tube that allows it to go past the pressure sensor and all the way down the tire so it doesn't gunk up the sensors, or you can just fill it before fully mounting the tire to the rim. But basically, you just don't want sealant actually messing with the sensors. So the question is, what happens when when you get a flat? Well, you can actually use a standard tube in here, but since this system does need that special valve, if you use a standard tube, the pressure sensing won't work. However, they are making a specific tube for this system with the pressure sensing valve built in. Now, the one issue I see with getting flat though is getting the tire off when you're out on the road. Thankfully, I haven't had to deal with that quite yet, but being that it's pretty challenging to mount the tire, I'd say it's probably equally challenging to get it off, especially if you're out on the road. But I guess thank goodness for tubeless technology as well as tire plugs. But they do claim that these rims have a refined shape that helps shield the tire in an impact, which could cause a pinch flat. So I guess there's that. Again, I haven't had to deal with that quite yet, but hopefully I won't have to test that for you. Now, for how these ride, well, I've only had these for a little while, so I haven't had them long enough to formulate a long-term opinion, but I mean, they're fast, just like pretty much all of other Zipp's wheels. But what I'd say about these 303 SW specifically is that I actually like the fact that they're not too deep, so they're not going to really catch much crosswind, but you still get all the benefits of the aero design, and they do have dimples on the side, by the way, as well. So there's definitely a lot of specifics with these wheels, and they aren't necessarily cheap either, but they are on the bleeding edge when it comes to technology. And one more thing I wanted to mention too is that these do come with Zipp's lifetime warranty. But I think these are really going to be for all of us who want the most current technology and want every advantage that you can get. And I think one more thing I'd say about these 303 SW specifically is that I think these would actually be really good on those really adventurous rides where there's a lot of road as well as a lot of gravel, where we can actually adjust our tire pressure in real time depending on the terrain. And it's not even just about monitoring tire pressure when you're out on the road. I actually just really like the fact that even before a ride, I can just pump up my tires and see where I'm at. But I think versatility is a pretty big win for these with that broader tire range, where you could actually just have one set of wheels on one bike if you don't mind switching out the tires. Like right now, I actually have these on my Cervelo Aspero gravel bike and just kind of have that as a road bike with this setup, and then I have another set of wheels for gravel. So I'll be continuing to ride these throughout the season, so look for my long-term review of these, which will be coming out sometime in the future. And if you have any questions about these that I didn't cover in the video, feel free to drop those down in the comment section down below. And in the meantime, thanks so much for watching, have fun out there, and we will see you in the next video.